to plan. Our next stage in our unit planning is teacher as provocateur. That means teacher as questioner, and supporting questioning within their teaching and in the learning experiences. So there is a separate template for you to complete for this. So this is not actually part of the unit plan template that you have been using to this point. So if you go to the course Moodle and scroll down to assignments and you see the section that says Inquiry Unit Plan, you will find a separate document called Teacher as Provocateur, and there's a template for you in your group to complete. In this template, there are 3 sections. One is the role of the teacher. The other is the questions that teacher will ask and possible questions that students will ask. So for the role of the teacher, what you are considering there is, what will you be doing throughout the unit? How will you be supporting the inquiry aspects of the unit? How will you be encouraging questioning throughout the unit? How will you be supporting the learners? What will your actions be with the learners as you're doing it? Not things like, I'm going to be teaching lessons. Well, yeah, we understand that that's going to happen. But what are the things that you're going to be doing as a teacher to support the inquiry? So possibly asking students questions, probing them throughout this particular aspect of your unit. So really think about your unit holistically and how the teacher will be engaged within that unit. Then there's the section of possible teacher questions. So this is just a running list of possible questions that you're going to be asking throughout the unit. So not questions like, are you finished your work yet? Or please, can you please stop doing that? Not those questions. Questions that's going to push the thinking of the learners, questions that are going to address the expectations within the curriculum, questions that's going to get the learners thinking on a different level within the social studies strand that you're focusing on. Then you're going to put possible student questions. This is important so that teachers are considering, what are my students going to be asking, so that I can plan for that. So that again is a running list of possible questions that your learners may ask based on the topics, the lessons, the ideas, the culminating, the insights that are coming through within your particular strand that the students may possibly ask. So really think like a grade 1 student or a grade 3 student or a grade 6 student, depending on which grade you're focused on. What kind of questions will they ask? Right? That's connected to the social studies. We know they're going to ask things like, can I go to the washroom? Yeah, I think that's it. Remember, as you're thinking about the questions to include in your template, think about questions that are going to support inquiry, questions that are going to support the concepts and big ideas of the unit. Think about those specific expectations. And in the curriculum, you'll actually find that there's some questions there that you can include. Use them if it makes sense for where you're going with your unit. Make sure you're asking questions that are going to show you evidence of their learning and their understanding about the concepts. And also questions that are going to help them to reach a conclusion, for learners to be able to kind of come to that aha moment by asking them those questions that are leading them towards the learning and the specific expectations that you're focused on. So, as a recap, by this point, your accommodating task should be fully confirmed. You should have fleshed it out. Remember that it needs to be based around a scenario in order to make it more meaningful for the learners. You also need to have a rubric for your accommodating task. So think about how to develop a rubric, look at some of the examples that are available. Make sure your qualifiers are consistent. Many times I always encourage teachers to focus on level 3, which is like your baseline. And then all you do is take those same criteria, the way that you worded it there, and for level 4, you're going to add the word thoroughly, or strong, or creatively, or meaningfully. For level 2, you're going to add the word some. And for level 1, you're going to write no or limited as the qualifier. So I find that's a really nice, consistent way to create a rubric. What you want to stay away from in a rubric is putting down things that you don't want them to do. So don't include things like has not done this, because you don't want them to do it. don't include that in the rubric. Only what you want them to do in the rubric. Make sure that your lessons support the culminating task. And we've talked about that already. Just another reminder. This has been a long task, a hard task, and you've worked really hard. So be kind to yourself in these last few stages, and this last push to the end. And know that we are all here to support you. And you are there to support your colleagues, your group members as well. Everyone's participation will look different based on their situation, but remember, we're presuming positive intentions, that the goal is to create amazing learning experiences for students.